Man, that Joe done bumped his goddamn head, man. Fat Joe done bumped his mother effing head. Put my seatbelt on so it's not. Yeah, Fat Joe went up on Matt Hoffer and played himself. We already saw that Fat Joe was feel some type of way. He'd been feeling like that. The microphone check stuff. But it's true. It just showed his true colors came out. See, where I grew up at, I grew up around Puerto Ricans. I grew up in the projects with white and Puerto Rican people and black people. We all was just one. It honestly wasn't until I got older to where I started seeing the division in people. Because when I was young, I just even like there was prejudiced people. Of course, you might hear somebody say certain stuff, but we all was poor kids in the projects. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't until I got older. I'm gonna tell you the first time where I noticed some weird stuff from Latinos. And me, I don't have nothing against Latinos. Puerto Ricans, Dominicans, any problems you ever heard me talk about, like with Dominicans, I said that I worked with and stuff before, it's all them coming at me, not how I feel about them. I'm the one being rude awakening by some BS. But the first time I sensed something weird with Puerto Ricans was I was locked up. This is back in like 2001. And the block I was on, there was mostly black, couple white dudes, and a couple Puerto Ricans. You know what I'm saying? And there was probably like 5 Puerto Ricans on the whole block. Block held about, I can't remember how big the block, maybe 100 people, 70 people, whatever it was. But the Puerto Ricans was mad cool, and there was a couple of them mad cool. We was all chilling. Once they sent some more Puerto Ricans up there, this was in Lackawanna County. I was in Scranton, locked up in Scranton. Once they sent some more Puerto Ricans up there, they totally switched up on us, yo. Totally. That was the first time I like kind of became aware of like maybe Puerto Ricans don't feel as, you know what I'm saying, as I thought they did like my whole life. That was the first time I experienced something like that. Because once they got their numbers up, they became super different. They wasn't talking to us, wasn't, you know what I'm saying, interacting like that before everything was pop, like all that type of stuff. Once they became equals, had the same numbers, they just started acting mad funny. So I was just like, I didn't take it too personal. It wasn't like, oh, now it's beef with Puerto. Like, it wasn't nothing serious. But that was the first time that I did see something weird with Puerto Ricans. It was when I was locked up. You know what I'm saying? But like I said, it wasn't like nothing. It didn't make me not like Puerto Rican. It was just like, all right, these dudes up here on some are acting funny. You know what I mean? So that was just that. But I did notice that division, that it was something. It wasn't what I thought it was growing up in close proximity with Puerto Ricans in the projects. But and then also you got to also factor in that different areas are different with people. You know what I'm saying? Like Fat Joe says, like he's saying a melting pot. And like where I'm from a small city, but it's just like New York as far as the mixture of the races. Eastern Pennsylvania is like super melting pot. It's small. It's like Allentown is like close to us in Bethlehem. But Bethlehem has always been mostly Hispanics, white people and Hispanics with a couple black. Then Allentown was kind of like a bigger Bethlehem, mostly Hispanics, white and blacks mixed. But now Allentown is definitely more Hispanics than anything in Allentown. But Easton has always been more black and majority white, of course, and then but more out of the minorities, it was always black minority bigger than any other minority. But we always had Lebanese, Puerto Ricans, everything. The one thing that came late to where I'm from, Easton, was Dominicans. That was like the last group of people that came were Dominicans. You know what I'm saying? That because I didn't grow up with Dominicans, I grew up with Puerto Ricans. But like I said, it was so to me growing up, like I never saw like a separation until I went to jail that one time. And I was like, oh, it was something to note. You know what I'm saying? I was like, all right, I'm not, it ain't serious, but I did take note of that. But what has happened now, and what I was saying about different areas and different places, like where I'm from, here Puerto Ricans say the word nigga is not a big deal. You know what I'm saying? Like me or nobody else around ever took offense to that, especially Puerto Ricans that grew up with us. It's all good. It ain't like I didn't never felt it was like racist and nothing like that, or offended or nothing like that. But some places it ain't like that. You know what I'm saying? Like I heard the dude Florida Boy Jay on Star Report. He was like down south, Puerto Ricans or whoever saying the word nigga. You know what I'm saying? Stuff like that. So that's how some places are. You know what I mean? Even like where I'm from, even a couple white boys could get away with saying the word nigga depending on who they were. Cause like I said, we grew up with people. I grew up with white kids in the projects that was just like everybody else. They ain't had no more than nobody else. They were just as messed up as everybody else was around us. You know what I'm saying? But that all being said, this whole thing with this Puerto Ricans and hip hop thing has taken over. It has taken on a mind of its own. It became out of hand. It has become out of hand. Like it's not. It's out of hand. It's like it's not what it's supposed to be. The problem comes about when Tariq Nasheed decides to say, because there was already little whispering and stuff. You hear little stuff here and there, documentaries and certain little stuff. But when Tariq Nasheed made the microphone check, it put everything. It laid all the facts out. The facts are the facts. All the BS to bed. And that was just it. There's no disputing it. You can't refute it. The legends, the pioneers spoke. You can't refute that. So it is what it is. You know what I'm saying? Plus, if you're from if you're from a black family, a black background, black American, foundational black American, you already know this. So when people came along all of a sudden talking about somebody else created hip hop, of course we're going to take offense to that. We're not trying to hear that. You know what I'm saying? Like, we're not trying to hear that. Like, that's just not. We ain't trying to hear that. It's just as simple as that. We're not trying to hear that. So as far as the Puerto Ricans were definitely there from the beginning. They contributed. You know what I'm saying? Me personally, I don't take nothing away from Puerto Ricans when it comes to hip hop as far as their contribution. They was there with it. They was pushing it. I don't take nothing from Puerto Ricans with that. I only have a problem with Puerto Ricans or anybody else saying that they created it or helped create it or anything like that. That's where the problem lies from. You know what I'm saying? Because people, like, if you grew up in, like I said, a black household, the music we grew up on, all the Earth, Wind, and Fire and James, all the stuff we heard growing up, just random songs. You know what I'm saying? You know, black people created hip hop. That's where it comes from. James Brown, Muhammad Ali, even talking shit, just talking. It comes from black people. There's no way you can say that nobody else created hip hop except for black people. That's where the problem comes into play, and it is a problem as long as people think that. It's just not something we can accept. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's just not acceptable. That's the only problem I have with people with the whole thing. But I take nothing away from Puerto Ricans being involved and contributing and pushing hip hop forward. You know what I'm saying? Because they definitely helped push it along. They definitely made contributions. You know what I'm saying? All that kind of stuff. Why my shadow got my hat looking like I got one of them old school Fat Albert hats on, but really it's a cap. You know what I'm saying? But so yeah, man, if Fat Joe went up there and coming at the FBA situation, that was totally whack. Because like I've been said like a couple years ago, yeah, Tariq Nasheed's the one that created the FBA, the word. You know what I'm saying? But really, what that is that's the discovery of something that already exists. You can call it something else, and it's still going to be the same thing. You can't refute FBA because it describes a lineage of people. Something else I didn't realize until I got older. Like I said, I grew up in a melting pot. I grew up in an illusion, I guess you could say. Everybody around, I thought we was all the same, but I grew up and found out otherwise. Like I said, got locked up, found out about Puerto Ricans. Then I started working at jobs when I got older, different jobs I started working at. That's when I saw other aspects of realizing that black Americans are not the same thing as the other black skinned melanated people. It's not the same thing. I'm not saying I want it to not be the same thing. I'm not saying that I want it to be different, but experiences and shit in life shows you that foundational black Americans are not the same thing as other black people. Puerto Ricans, Dominicans, Africans, Jamaicans, Haitians, any other melanated people. And like another part of that is a lot of them come over here and they make a clear different. They make this. They clearly separate themselves from us. Is what I'm saying. You know what I'm saying? That also too comes from other people. I'm not trying to sit there and like foundational black Americans ain't do nothing wrong, but it's just the truth. Foundational Black Americans, for the most part, are welcoming to everybody. You know what I'm saying? As far as like that type of stuff. Like, I grew up thinking all black people was the same my whole life. Like I said, that's how I grew up in a melting pot. But then I got older and came out into the world and realized all black people who have black skin don't see themselves as the same way we see ourselves. And I'm light skinned, so that's like a whole different aspect. That's a whole different dynamic to everything. You know what I'm saying? Me being light skinned. But I'm just talking from a foundational Black American point of view. You know what I'm saying? My mom is foundational Black American. My dad is half white and half black, but he grew up around only his foundational Black American family. He never knew his white dad. I met his dad like 2 times in my life. I never knew the white part of my family. My dad never knew the white part of his family. I was always the lightest person in my family my whole entire childhood. You know what I'm saying? So I'm a foundational Black American at the end of the day. So Fat Joe coming out here and taking shots at foundational Black Americans, he really put his foot in his mouth in that aspect, because you really offending. Because he got a problem with Tariq Nasheed. Maybe not just Tariq, but he might really got a problem with foundation. He might be on some prejudice shit. You know what I'm saying? Really, like for real. He might be one of them people that been harboring this secret racism and jealousy and prejudice and shit. He might have always been like that. A lot of people are good at faking it. You know what I'm saying? Like, you can go forever. Some people are just real good at pretending stuff like that. You never know until something happens. You'd be like, damn, I didn't know this Joker was how. Or it could be for many reasons. You know what I'm saying? I think I see a goddamn drone right now. I seen one like 2 days ago. I think that's definitely a drone, but. And look, now we just used to drones riding around. I'm just like, yes, I think that's a drone. I'm just keeping it moving. Years ago, that would have been a big fucking deal. You know what I'm saying? But anyway, like I was saying, because the thing with Tariq Nasheed, and this is the thing with Tariq Nasheed. I said this a long time ago. A lot of people certain people feel certain ways about Tariq Nasheed. Some people feel like he's a hustler. Some people feel like he's a scammer and stuff like that. Whatever, I'm saying, that's what some people think. People been saying stuff about him. Me personally, the way I feel about Tariq Nasheed, I feel like for one, if nothing else, he's definitely passionate about when it comes to foundational Black Americans, as far as pushing the envelope forward. You know what I'm saying? Now, in between that, is he a bit of a hustler? Yeah, he's a hustler. You know what I'm saying? I ain't saying like in a bad way. I'm saying, like, if you can monetize your passion or monetize, like, yeah, everybody why not make some money if you can make money? Because the thing about Tariq Nasheed too is that the one thing you can't take away from Tariq Nasheed is that he puts a lot of work. This dude got a lot of tangible material that you know what I'm saying, books, DVDs, documentaries. He's funny, you know what I'm saying? Like, he put a lot into. He definitely deserves his spot. That's regardless of how anybody feels about him. Maybe I don't agree, or you might not agree with every single thing he says. Maybe, you know what I'm saying? Maybe some of the stuff may seem a little divisive sometime, a little bit, maybe or maybe not. But at the end of the day, you can't take nothing away from me. And the fact that he coined because Dr. Claude Anderson was really who made it up, but I think Dr. Claude Anderson coined the term foundational Native American. And that's cool too. It describes the same thing, but the only thing about the foundational Native American is that it leaves a little bit of room open for discrepancy. You know what I'm saying? As far as like when you're describing the lineage where you are, it leaves like a little bit of room open for that. Foundational Black American leaves no wiggle room for nothing. There's no other way. You can't get around that. Nobody can come in and hijack it. Nobody can be from somewhere else and say, oh, it can't be remixed at all. You know what I'm saying? So that's why it's an airtight term. It makes sense. It greatly describes the lineage or who we are, people born in America, Black people in America, who and also the whole thing with some Black people already being in America before slavery. That's a whole different thing. But Black people who are not immigrants, they say, oh, everybody's an immigrant. Black people are foundational Black Americans aren't immigrants. Slavery is not immigration. Slavery is kidnapping. So you can't say foundational Black Americans derived from immigrants, because we didn't immigrate over here. We were kidnapped and brought here. If you follow the transatlantic slave story, you know what I'm saying? And yeah, definitely, I'm sure slavery, part of slavery was happening. But like I said, I'm sure some of us were already here too. You know what I'm saying? Like a foundational black American and an African are two different genomes at the end of the day. But even then, like I said, the whole slavery route, even then, that doesn't mean we immigrated here, because you can't. Slaves don't. There's not an immigrant. You were kidnapped and brought here against your will. So at the end of the day, I said that to say that, yeah, foundational black Americans are the only people here who are not immigrants. You know what I'm saying? At the end of the day, whoever the natives, the other Native Americans that were here, you can see them too. The Indian Native Americans, the ones that of them that was here. So that covers that whole thing. So yeah, foundational black American is the correct term. But Fat Joe coming out and saying that, and then using money, oh, niggas is broke, like all that type of stuff, dude, that's way out of pocket, man. And I'm not holding all Puerto Ricans to that, to for what he said. I ain't gonna sit there like all Puerto Ricans. Like, I told my personal thing about some Puerto Ricans I dealt with, but I'm not gonna hold that against all Puerto Ricans. That shit that Fat Joe came out here and said, but that was bogus on his part. He played himself with that. You know what I'm saying? Fat Joe played himself 100% with that. And that's about it, man. But I lost a lot of respect for Fat Joe. He was already iffy for the past years anyway, you know what I'm saying? But that thing he just did right there, that shit was like way beyond the realms of, you know what I'm saying, just way out of pocket. That was too much. A little bit too much, man. That's about it. Gotta get all these damn bags out the whip. Do some shopping. That's about it. Hit the like button before you get up out of here. If you watch this on the playback,